Hi, this is Elizabeth Cermak from Your Highest Light Master Life Coach, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about making a decision once and for all for a more fabulous life. So I'm going to wait a couple minutes while everybody is getting online. And last week I talked about, I'm going to pull a Gabby Bernstein, Universe Has Your Back card while we wait. Last week I talked about, look at Prudence knows it's time when she jumps up at me when it's time to go. Last week we talked about how to know if life coaching is right for you. And today we're going to be talking about making a decision once and for all for a more fabulous life, whether that's getting a life coach, whatever that is for you. We're going to talk about how to make that decision and how to leave the fear behind and move from fear to love. But of course, Miracles would call it from fear to love, but I'm going to call it today from fear to excitement. So hi, Posse. Good to see you. So anybody who's hopping on, let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, just put #replay so I know that you're watching. And I'd love to hear, I would love to hear from you. Okay, so let's start I'm going to pull a Gabby Bernstein card just to get us kind of grounded and started. My Course in Miracles lesson today is I Am Spirit. So I love that lesson and I'm trying to really live it and know it. And honestly, what I'm going to talk about today, it's really hard sometimes, doing this kind of work and teaching other people because you have to do it yourself. And what I'm talking about today, it's so funny because Luis Cavazos and I, who would do live videos together, we'd always be like, okay, we better make sure we have this issue taken care of for ourselves before we talk about it, because the law of attraction is always working, and it will... things that we talk about, issues will be in our face, making sure that we can handle it. So Gabby Bernstein says the same thing. I think she just healed her gut, and so she made sure that she was really healed before she came out and talked about it, because when you talk about things, you tend to get faced with it again. So what's so funny is, okay, I'll slow down. I do tend to talk kind of fast. So I am what I'm talking about today is leaving the fear behind and choosing excitement. And I am trying to live that in my own life right now. Okay, let's pull a card. I am the dreamer of my dream. So that's perfect. That will kind of guide us today. So I am the dreamer of my dream. And this card says to us that we create our reality. We create our own lives and we create our reality. So, today, it's funny, I talked a little bit about this on my other Instagram page yesterday about how every time there's a full moon, I really appreciate the reminder to slow down because I tend to talk so fast. Every time there's a full moon, I meditate on what I want to manifest under that moon. And this full moon was no different. It was last week and I did that. And certain meditations tend to be more powerful than other ones. And this one, I really wanted to show the universe that I was ready for a big change. And the thing is that the next day after the full moon, after you meditate and you put it out there into the universe what you want, you have to move right away into receiving what the universe is trying to give you instead of still wanting it. So I did that, and it was very difficult though. Sometimes it's hard because it comes in ways that you're not always expecting, and that can cause some fear, and then you start blocking it. Okay, blocking what the universe is trying to give you. So right now, that's what I'm trying to do, is move from fear to excitement, fear to love. A Course in Miracles says all emotions can go into two categories, either fear or love. So today I'm going to talk about moving from fear to excitement, but you can think of it as fear to love. So just remember, you are the dreamer of your dream. You get to create your reality. You get to create your life. And that's what's so great about life coaching, is that I help people actually create the life that they want. So I'm helping people actually create the life of their dreams. There's a difference in therapy. Obviously, there's a lot of differences between therapy and life coaching. There's a lot of overlaps. One of the differences is therapy, people come to you because there's a problem that they want to be solved. And with life coaching, people come to you to create opportunities in the future. So to create the life that they want. So I hope that makes sense to you. Now, hiring a life coach, and I'm talking today about making decisions to make your life better. And so whether that's hiring a life coach, whatever that is, I'm going to kind of talk about hiring a life coach and how that was for me. And I'm going to talk about a couple other examples as well. But first of all, hiring a life coach can be an emotional experience. And this is a good thing. I mean, you are making the decision to change your life. And so that should be emotional. It's okay. That's something in coaching that we understand, is that, a lot of times in therapy, we look at emotions as problems to be solved. And in life coaching, we look at emotions as just part of the human experience. They're not problems to be solved. What if you were allowed to be anxious? What if that was no longer a problem to be fixed or a problem to be solved? How good would that feel? So, okay, I'm not saying that all anxiety, so I understand, as anybody who has watched my videos knows that I have anxiety. I've had a diagnosable anxiety disorder since I was very small. So I understand anxiety being very painful, so I'm not saying that. But sometimes when we fight it, when we try to block it and we try to fight it, it just makes it worse. And sometimes when we allow it and we let it pass through us, then it actually lessens the anxiety. So, okay. So what we're talking about today, to making a decision for a better life, once and for all, making a decision. And according to thinklegacy.com and many other sources, the Latin meaning of decision is to cut off. So when you're making a decision, you're cutting off all other possibilities. So when you make a decision for a more fabulous life, you're cutting off possibilities for a less than fabulous life, and you're cutting them off once and for all. It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode where they say Band-Aid, one rip, right off, right? I think he's trying to break up with somebody or something, and he talks about one rip, right off. So when you make the decision to have a more fabulous life, you're cutting off all other options. So when I made the decision I'm going to use this example a couple times. When I made the decision to limit sugar in my life, I'm cutting myself off from other options. So I'm cutting myself off from a less than fabulous life, okay? So really so if you think about it, I love thinking about decision that way, as cutting off, and you're cutting yourself off from other choices and from a lesser life. Think about when people decide to quit doing drugs or quit drinking, and they cut ties. They don't hang around with those people anymore because they're cutting themselves off from that life. They're cutting themselves off from those possibilities, the possibilities of drug addiction. You cut yourself off, you make the decision. And, time and time again, people who have made that decision, that's what they say. They decided. They made the decision. They decided. And times in my life where I've really made the decision and decided is when the miracles happen. That's when the universe really responds. Because the universe, remember, responds to our feelings more than it responds to our thoughts and our actions. Okay. So you are the one who has to decide. You are the one who has to make this decision if you're going to live a more fabulous life or not. So here's the thing. When I hired my life coach, I was so excited. So I saw that something that she was offering, and I had made the decision. I had cut myself off from failure. That was not an option. Failure for me was not an option. I had made the decision for a more fabulous life, and this awesome girl showed up, and I knew she was supposed to be my life coach. And so she was offering something, and I was so excited, and she's really good at this, getting you excited, And so when I decided that I was going to hire her, I was so excited, and I was all in, and I had made the decision. Failure was not an option. Well, when she told me how much she charged, I turned into fear. So she charges like $1,000 a month, right? I thought, oh my gosh, my husband's going to flip out. How am I going to pay this? I'm not going to be able to do this. Then I got sad. So what I realized was, though, that I was focusing on what I'm going to lose instead of what I'm going to gain. So if you feel stuck in fear in any decision in your life, if you're afraid, for instance, like I talked about cutting sugar out of your life. When I cut sugar out of my life, I didn't cut it completely, but when I made the decision to seriously limit the amount of sugar that I'm taking in my body, I got afraid because I was fearful. It's Halloween. I got afraid of all those delicious foods I was going to miss out on. I became fearful. But what I realized when you're fearful is you're concentrating on what you're going to lose instead of what you're going to gain. So then I shifted to excitement because I concentrated that I'm going to gain better health. I'm going to gain better mental health. I'm going to gain more focus. When you have foresight and you can think about what you're going to gain in a situation instead of focusing on what you're going to lose, then you will change your fear into excitement, okay? So when I was able to very quickly change my fear into excitement about hiring my life coach because I knew this was the right decision. And instead of focusing on the money that I was going to lose, I focused on everything that I was going to gain from the situation, from her being in my life, okay? So think about in your life if there's a decision that you need to make, and think of fears holding you back, and just look at it from a curious standpoint. Is it that you're focused too much on what you're going to lose and not on what you're going to gain? Okay, so focus on, and this is not to say that you should go out and make some crazy purchase or something like that, spend money that you don't have, but maybe you are focusing too much on losing money instead of what you're going to gain from an experience. That was for me. I was focused too much on losing the money instead of focus on what I'm going to gain, okay, for that specific incident. And then for sugar too, or when you decide to change your diet, or when you decide to give up drugs and alcohol, you're all of a sudden, you might be excited at first, and then you might be fearful because you're going to not be able to hang out with the same people maybe, or you're not going to be able to have that drink when you want it. And then you're thinking about what you're going to lose instead of thinking about what you're going to gain. And what you gain, I quit drinking. So what I gained from that was way, way, way more than, way better, higher than one drink, okay? Or 2 drinks or whatever. Hi, Cynthia. Good to see you. So we're talking about making this decision once and for all to live a more fabulous life. And to decide means to cut off. The Latin meaning of decision means to cut off. So when you decide, you're cutting yourself off from lesser options. And I've talked about this before with deciding to quit drinking or deciding to eat better or whatever it is. You're deciding to live a higher vibe life, and you're cutting yourself off from the lower vibes. Okay. So, think of it when you were a kid. It's really easy to switch from fear to excitement. So think about it when you were a kid and you were maybe like in line at Great America, okay? So, and you're waiting for the roller coaster and you're feeling really excited, but you're also feeling afraid and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Should I get out of line? This was me as a kid. I don't know. I loved roller coasters. I don't like roller coasters anymore because they make me sick, but this was a good example when I was a child. But I never got out of the line because I loved roller coasters, and I kind of loved that fear. It was easy to change that fear to excitement, and I didn't want to go home and not go on the roller coaster. I wanted to experience it, so I was able to sacrifice my safety and my peace of mind because I wanted something bigger. I wanted something better. I wanted the roller coaster ride. And so we're addicted to that a little bit. We want that. Our egos and keep us safe and small and don't want us to take risks. And so recently that's what I've had to do. I had to take a risk in my life, and it's kind of like that deciding to go on that roller coaster ride. And once you make the decision and that seatbelt's on, you can't get off the ride. So make the decision, and and then you have the more fun, better life anyway. Okay, so hi Josephine, so good to see you. Hi Jose, good to see you too. We're talking about making a decision once and for all to live a more fabulous life, and how the word decision, actually the Latin meaning of it is to cut off. So you're cutting yourself off from other options. And also if you're stuck in fear, anywhere in your life, I want you to think about it and think about maybe where you're too focused on what you're going to lose instead of what you're going to gain. So, even like I'm thinking about planning my wedding, it's like, okay, I was sometimes I got so caught up in the fear. So like, because you're spending a lot of money, and I got caught up in like thinking about, oh my gosh, all this money that I'm spending, instead of thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm hiring somebody to do my flowers are gonna be so beautiful, I'm so excited, or this photographer, it's gonna be awesome, think about all the awesome pictures I'm gonna gain, or this beautiful dress I'm gonna have. Like I would have taken any of that back. I actually did budget my wedding very well, but I would have never traded any of that for the world, because what I got out of it was so much more than any of that money that I spent. Okay, so when I'm just looking at my notes to make sure. Okay, so we think about sacrifice. When we think about sacrifice in this society, we tend to think of sacrifice as something like that's horrible and hard, right? So, but sacrifice really is giving up something of a lesser value for something of a higher value. So when I talk about giving up sugar, I'm giving up the sugar is not as valuable to me as my health and my well-being and my overall peace, my mental health and the health of my body. So don't think of sacrifice is an awesome thing. We think of it as this horrible thing. We're afraid to sacrifice anything. Sacrifice is an awesome thing. We're giving up something of a lesser value to gain something of a higher value. The only way that I'm going to post a picture. I have a picture of me when I was 21, and I'm about, I don't know, 90 pounds heavier. The only way I was able to lose that weight was I was able to think. I had foresight. I was able to think about how I wanted to feel and how I wanted to look in the future. And it was just so much stronger than any like party I was at or any food that was being served. I kept that vision in my mind, and I lost the weight very slowly and in a very healthy way. But the only way I was able to do that was because I had the strong mind. I had the vision. I kept it in my mind, and it was much stronger than anything that was, put in front of me. So Emily Williams lately has been talking about foresight, and I love that. So thinking about decision is cutting yourself off. When you make a decision to do something great for yourself, you're cutting yourself off from other options. Sacrifice is giving up something of a lesser value to gain something of a higher value. Okay, and then also when we want to focus on what we're going to gain instead of what we're going to lose. Maybe you're not going to gain enough and it's not worth the money or whatever it is, and that's okay, but just think about it. I want you to start questioning that. Am I focused too much? I think a lot of times in this society we focus too much on what we're going to lose instead of what we're going to gain in the long run, because we need more foresight. We need to think about things more in the long run. We'll spend money on, something at Target or whatever, but we're afraid to spend money on something bigger. So maybe this something bigger is going to be something better for you, higher energy, right? Okay, so good to see all of you guys. And if anybody has any questions, so I have to tell you, so tomorrow is Halloween, and it's the last day to sign up for my free meditation training. I'll put the link below. And if you sign up for one-on-one coaching with me, if you just fill out the application for one-on-one coaching with me, you get the free meditation. So I have 3 spots open. I have a couple of them filled, I think, but you still have some time, but it's limited because it's only going to be till tomorrow. So if you're procrastinating it, make sure you get it done today. So I have 3 spots, like I said, for individual life coaching one-on-one with me available, and I think a couple of those spots are going to be taken soon, so that will be one more spot available. So please, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, fill out this application. It's only until tomorrow because my prices are going to be going up on Halloween, actually, or the day after Halloween, let's say, because my website's coming up. All these different things are happening, and so I've had a lot of people contact me because they want to get in when my prices are lower, but I'm really only opening it up to 3 spots. Okay, so I hope that you guys get in on the action. Like I said, it's only until tomorrow. I think I forgot to tell you that in my last video. So if you guys want to know about if life coaching with me would be good for you, my last video is on my personal page on Facebook. So if you guys can't find it, let me know. You can comment below and say, Elizabeth, I want the last video, or send me a message and I will send you the video. Okay, so good to see you guys today. Let's pull one more card before we finish. I am the dreamer of my dream. Remember, that was the first card that we pulled. Everybody needs to go get this Girl Power shirt at Whole Foods. It's on sale right now. I love it. Okay, so I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. And, I love this because Marianne Williamson talks about this, and I don't know if she talked about this in yoga today too, but in yoga they talk about the beginner's mind, going into something for the first time. Whenever you're able to go into a situation without the past, it's a very spiritual thing that you're able to do. So whenever you're able to see someone for the first time, every morning you should release anybody that you're close to, anybody that you've been having problems with, and send them love and see them for the first time with the eyes of love. Okay, so that is this, and think about that beginner's mind. Waking up in the morning, making that decision, you cut yourself off from the past. The past is gone, so it can touch you not. So make that decision to cut off anything other than a lesser life, which is not what you are made for. Miracles. So you're here to live a fabulous life. So make that decision to cut off all those other options and see someone for the first time with the eyes of love. They go perfectly with I am the dreamer of my dream. You create your own reality. Okay, I love you guys so much. I will see you next week. I think Tuesday is going to be the normal time, but I still haven't picked the time. But I think this works. I think this time will work well. So love you guys. Peace and love. I will see you next week. We'll be talking soon, and make sure I will post below on Facebook and on Instagram. In my profile, the link. Okay. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye, guys.